The story opens in 1964. Ed and Lorraine Warren arrive at an old antique shop after receiving a desperate call from a young woman. She greets them with a shaken voice, explaining that her father had been hearing strange whispers in the dark. Every night, doors would creak open on their own, and an unseen presence seemed to breathe just behind him. At first, she thought it was nothing more than old age and imagination. But one day, she found him dead hanging inside his store. Since that day, the silence in the shop felt alive, pressing down on her like something unseen was watching. Lorraine listens quietly, her hand resting protectively over her pregnant belly. Despite Ed's concern, she insists on investigating. She takes a crucifix, walks toward a large antique mirror, and softly introduces herself, saying she's there to help. Suddenly, in the reflection, she sees the man's legs dangling lifelessly. When she reaches out to touch the glass, her own reflection warps into a twisted grin. A dark surge flashes through her mind, showing her terrifying images of her unborn child. Ed rushes to her side as she collapses, and in moments, they're racing to the hospital. Lorraine's breathing is ragged, blood stains her dress. There's something trapped inside that mirror, she whispers weakly as they speed down the road. At the hospital, the delivery becomes a nightmare. The baby's umbilical cord is wrapped around her neck. The room fills with panic. Lorraine prays desperately as doctors struggle to bring the child to life. Seconds stretch like hours. No sound, no heartbeat. Then miraculously the baby cries. Lorraine weeps with relief as she whispers her name for the first time, Judy Warren. Days later, the Warren household fills with light again. The couple dote on Judy, filling her nursery with warmth and laughter. As the years pass, she grows into a curious, bright little girl who brings peace to their haunted lives. But one afternoon, Judy comes home sobbing. She tells her mother she's been seeing awful things, visions that won't fade. Lorraine pulls her close, humming a lullaby to calm her. She teaches Judy a simple tune, a melody she can hum whenever she feels afraid. In a small town in Pennsylvania, the Smurl family is gathered for the confirmation of Heather Elizabeth, one of their daughters. The house is full of laughter, cameras flashing, and the smell of home-cooked food. During dinner, Heather's grandmother presents her with a large, carefully wrapped gift. The girl tears it open with excitement, only to find an old mirror, cracked across one side. Her grandfather assures her he can fix it. Heather forces a smile, though something about it unsettles her. Moments later, the family brings out Heather's confirmation cake. Cameras roll as she leans forward to blow out the candles, except the flames flicker out on their own. Everyone freezes. Then a sudden bang shakes the room. The story jumps again years later. The Warrens are giving a small lecture about their infamous cases. But the room is nearly empty, and most of the few attendees laugh at them. Afterward, the family goes out to eat. The mood is quiet. Lorraine gently mentions how painful it feels that no one believes in them anymore. Judy interrupts, telling her father he should have been honest at the conference, told them his health was the reason they stepped back. Ed shakes his head. No one wants to hear about a washed-up old man with heart problems. Judy changes the subject, mentioning his upcoming birthday and casually adding that she's inviting her boyfriend, Tony. But as she speaks, Lorraine notices something strange. Judy begins softly humming this strange. Later that evening, Janet heads down to the basement. She hears faint movement in the dim light, something shifting behind the old shelves. She flips the switch, but the second the bulb flickers on, the shadow is gone. She exhales shakily and turns to leave. Hours later, their father Jack returns home. The family gathers for dinner, trying to return to normal. The little girl insists something terrible happened, but no one believes her. Across the room, Heather glances at the mirror. For just a moment, she sees a ripple, something forming in the reflection. Dawn insists they get rid of it once and for all. The trash will be collected in the morning, so the tutor's words are grim. His heart can't handle stress anymore. One strong emotional shock could kill him. Lorraine tries to lift his spirits by planning a surprise birthday party. Judy shows up with her boyfriend, Tony, who looks nervous but eager to make a good impression. After dinner, Ed and Lorraine lead their guests into the infamous room of haunted artifacts. Later, Judy heads upstairs to look through some old photographs. Her eyes drift toward the shelf where the Annabelle doll sits. Remembering the tune her mother taught her, she hums the melody softly to keep calm. When she finally turns back, the doll is gone. In the garage, Tony joins Ed for a quick game of ping pong. Ed wins, but it's clear his strength is fading. Tony watches the older man struggle for breath and finally decides to speak his mind. He confesses that he's planning to propose to Judy. Lorraine listens quietly, though Ed frowns. Judy walks in, spots the ring, and Tony, flustered, drops to one knee right then and there. Judy laughs through her tears and says yes.
Yes!
As the party winds down, Father Gordon, an old friend of the Warrens, approaches them. He's carrying heavy news. A family in Pennsylvania is in urgent need of help. But given Ed's fragile health, they reluctantly decline the case. Back at the Smurl home, terror grows by the hour. The daughters are terrified, begging to leave, but Jack refuses. He thinks it's all nonsense until one night, his bedroom door creaks open on its own. A dark, female-shaped figure steps inside. Before he can move, he's lifted into the air by an unseen force. The reflection in the mirror moves closer on its own, a sinister grin forming across its cracked face. Meanwhile, Heather reviews her confirmation video frame by frame. When the candles went out, she realizes it wasn't her breath. Something else snuffed the flame. Something captured on camera. She stares, horrified, as a shadowy figure with an axe appears behind her. It swings. She screams. The entire family rushes to her room, but she's unharmed, the figure gone. The following morning, Father Gordon phones Lorraine in a panic. His voice trembles as he explains that he couldn't sleep. The case in Pennsylvania has been eating at him. He's convinced the Smurl family is in real danger. A parishioner finds Gordon's lifeless body at the altar. News of his death reaches the Warrens. In the Smurl house, Lorraine stood at the sink, finishing the last of the dishes. She reached to empty the water, but the drain gurgled stubbornly. She slipped her hand into the me. Judy pulled Tony aside. She spoke of a disturbing vision, Father Gordon's final moments. But there was more, she said. A deeper, lurking presence, watching her, waiting. In the early hours of the morning, Tony stood at the stove, flipping pancakes. He turned to Ed and confessed the truth about why he had left his job. Later, Judy sat with her mother in a quiet moment. She admitted that seeing them work firsthand opened her eyes. Their conversation was cut short by a sudden crash from upstairs. Both women hurried toward the noise. But as Lorraine moved ahead to investigate, Judy lingered behind until she spotted something in the hallway. A child's doll, still and silent. At the same time, Lorraine's senses flared. She moved toward the basement, drawn by something unseen. Outside, she told Ed what she had uncovered. 3 spirits haunted this place, not bound to the house, but to the soil beneath it. Lorraine could still feel their pain, but worse than them, something darker loomed. A malevolent entity controlled the 3 spirits, turning them against the Smurls. Meanwhile, inside, Judy heard her mother's voice echoing from above. She raced to the attic and found herself staring at the cursed mirror. Its surface was cracked. As she reached out to touch it, a piece of chalk clattered to the floor. Her parents rushed to her side. Through trembling breaths, she warned them the attic held something dangerous. The Warrens climbed up, finding the mirror exactly as Judy had described. Lorraine touched its surface, her voice hushed. "Something's different," she said. As they examined it, they recalled its dark history, Judy's connection to it. Heather, one of the Smurls, interrupted. Confused, she and her sister had destroyed that mirror years ago. It shouldn't exist anymore. They wondered what had happened to the woman from the antique shop where they first encountered it. But Ed and Lorraine admitted they'd never followed up. It was their first real case, one left unfinished. But this time, something felt changed. They did with the rest of their cursed relics. Ed asked Lorraine to fetch his sacred book to perform a protective prayer. He and Jack began to move the heavy artifact. Lorraine stayed by Judy, but suddenly, the girl doubled over, blood trickling from her nose. At the same moment, the bindings around the mirror unraveled. Jack has Jack's foot. Elsewhere, Tony had gone out to help. But on the road, he was confronted by a ghostly woman standing in his path. Swerving to avoid her, he crashed. Back in the house, Lorraine raced to Judy's side, but found her in tears, her voice altered, no longer her own. "We've been waiting for Judy to come home," she whispered ominously. Meanwhile, Lorraine was cornered by the spirit of the murderous husband away. Ed, regaining his strength, took his pills and steadied himself. Lorraine explained through breathless urgency that the entity had always wanted Judy, that everything led back to her. With renewed purpose, Ed called for his sacred book. Staring back was the demon itself. Ed stood tall, holding the book, beginning the exorcism. But the mirror flared with power, the book caught fire. Together, the Warrens pressed their hands against the glass. A cracking sound echoed, then another. Slowly, the mirror splintered, finally shattering into pieces. The dark force was gone. Tony, though visibly shaken, survived. Weeks later, Ed and Tony brought the broken fragments of the mirror back to the Warrens' collection. They sealed it away, marked clearly with a warning never to disturb it again.